Welcome to Concrete Block, the podcast where we break down the latest news and current events. I'm your host, Walter. Today, we're diving into a complex web of global news, from the ongoing tensions between the US and Iran to the latest developments in the world of artificial intelligence. We start with the situation in the Middle East, where the US and Iran are engaged in a delicate dance of diplomacy and military posturing. Despite some optimism earlier in the week that a peace agreement might be reached, it appears that progress has stalled. The two sides are still negotiating over a draft agreement that would extend a ceasefire and reopen the Strait of Hormuz, a vital waterway that has been largely closed since the conflict began. The standoff has significant implications for global oil markets, with prices rising amid uncertainty over the outlook for a peace deal. Brent crude is currently trading near $93 a barrel, while West Texas Intermediate is hovering around $89. The conflict has already caused unprecedented turmoil in oil markets, with prices up more than a quarter since the war started at the end of February. Meanwhile, in the world of technology, artificial intelligence is continuing to drive growth and innovation across Asia. The region's share markets are being underpinned by demand for semiconductors and AI-related gear, with Japan's Nikkei and South Korea's Kospi both rising in recent trading sessions. In other news, bond traders are betting on a potential interest rate hike by the Federal Reserve, citing a strong U.S. economy and elevated oil prices. The Fed's next meeting is scheduled for June, and traders will be watching closely for any signs of a shift in the central bank's stance on monetary policy. We'll also be keeping an eye on the latest developments in the tech industry, including a major announcement from Nvidia boss Jensen Huang at the Computex trade show in Taiwan. Huang is expected to expound on his company's latest product efforts and the island's central role in the AI industry. We'll be right back with more of today's top news on Concrete Block. Welcome back to Concrete Block. We're diving into the latest developments from Colombia, where a presidential runoff is set to take place in June. Right-wing lawyer Abelardo De La Espriella and leftist Senator Ivan Cepeda will face off after a tight vote on Sunday, with each candidate offering distinct solutions to address voter concerns over security and the economy. De La Espriella's campaign has centered around a tough stance against illegal armed groups, proposing the construction of 10 mega-prisons. This approach has drawn comparisons to El Salvador's president, Nayib Bukele, known for his strict policies on crime. On the other hand, Cepeda, a longtime senator and activist, has emphasized the need for a more nuanced approach, focusing on negotiating peace and addressing the root causes of violence. The runoff promises to be highly contested, with both candidates garnering significant support. De La Espriella secured nearly 44% of the vote, while Cepeda trailed closely behind with just under 41%. As Colombia navigates this critical juncture, voters will be weighing the potential consequences of each candidate's policies on the country's future. It's essential to consider the complexities of the situation and the diverse perspectives of Colombian citizens. Some argue that a tough stance on crime is necessary to restore order, while others believe that such an approach may exacerbate the cycle of violence. As we continue to monitor the situation, it's crucial to prioritize fairness and balance in our analysis. As we look ahead to the runoff, one thing is clear: the outcome will have significant implications for Colombia's trajectory. The candidates' differing visions for the country's future will be thoroughly scrutinized, and voters will ultimately decide which path to take. Welcome back to Concrete Block. As we wrap up today's show, let's take a closer look at the ongoing situation in Ukraine and its potential implications for Russian President Vladimir Putin. According to recent reports, almost 500 Russians have been killed in the conflict, with many more grievously wounded. This staggering number has sparked visible signs of dissent within the Russian elite, with some openly questioning the war. A recent article published in Russia in Global Affairs argued that the goal of eliminating the pro-Western government in Kyiv is fundamentally unattainable, and suggested that a negotiated peace would be in Russia's interests. This sentiment is not uncommon among experts, who point to historical precedents where Russian military setbacks have led to radical changes in political direction. From the Russo-Japanese War to the Cuban Missile Crisis, defeat has often paved the way for significant shifts in power. Given Putin's advanced age and the country's declining population, it's possible that failure in Ukraine could lead to his downfall. However, identifying a clear mechanism for his removal is more complex. Public protests have been met with violence, and opposition leaders have faced severe consequences. A split within the Russian elite, potentially led by someone with loyal troops behind them, may be the most likely way to bring about change. European governments could play a role in facilitating this by promoting a message of peace and cooperation in elite circles. While obstacles to Putin's removal remain significant, it's clear that Russia's current course is unsustainable. As one expert noted, if something cannot go on forever, it will stop. Ultimately, only time will tell how this situation unfolds. That's all for today's Concrete Block. Remember to like, share, and subscribe, and until next time, stay informed.